Max and Magda were the patriarch and matriarch of our community for many, many years. They were full of goodness. They greeted everybody so cheerfully. They loved children. They saw in our children the continuation of their own legacy. Their home on a Shabbos afternoon for so many years was the place where so many families gathered. Children played in the backyard and the adults schmoozed together.
My mother, as well as my father, felt such a closeness to the children in the community. I mean, they felt like they were the parents of not only, of course, my sister and I, but all those children that they welcomed into their house. It was an extended family.
So when we moved into the neighborhood, I remember hearing from a couple of people on the block that there are these amazing people living next door, an elderly couple, and I was thinking, all right, how much are we really going to have to do with this elderly couple? But little did I know, there was this amazing couple, Max and Magda, who lived next door and just opened their door to us. From the minute we met them, we really had a strong connection, and I just have these beautiful memories. My children were babies, and thank God I had a lot of little babies at the time, and both Max and Magda really, really helped me tremendously.
We had a group of people who used to come every Shabbos. It was like a core group. I think the Langs were always there, Rosenbergs were there, so Teaneck was there, I think Katz was there. The Schulds used to come. And it was just a nice place. We used to sit around their table in their dining room. Magda, like my kids had said, always had a spread out.
Magda and Max's house was the place to be on Shabbos afternoon. As soon as the clocks changed, that was it. After lunch, a couple hours later, we let them rest, but we would all basically descend on their house, and she was so welcoming.
Having her apple strudel, or walking there with my dad and playing elimination in the backyard with all the kids. It was just so special. She was like a grandmother to me. Max was like a grandfather, and I always looked forward going there on Shabbos. It was the highlight of my week.
We put out a pretty great spread, and funny incidents would be that she would always try to sell her food. Even if we had a big lunch at home, she would always try to make sure that my kids and I sampled not just the kiddush, but also the falsha chant and the strudel that she would make and all the other special things that she had.
I remember coming with Edith and David here and watching the kids interact with Max and Magda. And I think that one of the funniest things is that Max would always try to offer my kids, no matter what age they were, a schnapps. And my kids literally thought that was like the funniest thing ever. And Magda would say, no, 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 Max. And he'd say, no, no, just a little, it's okay.
For many of our families, and certainly for Pesci and myself, Max and Magda were like adopted grandparents. They were quick to come and help us out if we needed an extra hand. Our children would often, if we were away, would sleep over in their homes.
They absolutely loved the rabbi and Pesci. My father would go out of his way to make sure he had certain kinds of fruits and food, and my mother too. They would just love to be part of them and taking care of them. They just respected them so much. There's not even words to express how much they loved the rabbi and Pesci.
I do remember also Magda loved to dance. She was a dancer. Any simcha that we used to go to, she used to seek out Herbie. And Herbie and Magda used to dance this Hungarian dance. And they used to dance at the end of every simcha. They used to have like this napkin between them. And they used to just dance around. And this is, she loved it, loved to dance.
Sarah had a relationship with Magda where she really, I think they related to each other because of their love of Israel, because of Magda's going through the Holocaust. Sarah did ask her a lot of questions about it, and Magda was very receptive and answered all those questions. She also just had a tremendous knowledge of history, and Sarah enjoyed speaking with her about anything related to history.
And as they got older, it became a different relationship, a closer relationship that they always had. Eventually, they got to come to our simchas, and it was beautiful because Edith got to dance with Magda at her wedding.
After my son, Kenny, passed away, I went to Magda the first Shabbos after I got up from Shiva. And of course I ended up crying, and she cried with me. And she said to me, "You've got to go on, you've got to be strong." And people will say that to you, but I knew, coming from Magda, she knew what loss is, what she went through after the war, carrying her mother's body, what she went through losing Max.
You know, when you think of Magda, the first word that comes to my mind is lady. She was just a lady of the highest quality. And every child felt warmed and loved and welcomed by them.
Loving. She was a very loving woman.
Qualities, one of them would be elegant. She was someone who survived the war. And as somebody that survived the war, you really have to appreciate how difficult it must have been for her growing up.
My goodness, I never heard Magda say a bad word. Whatever she went through in the war, I never heard Magda say a bad word.
They were really givers to everyone, to the entire community, and they did it in such a way that it was so authentic. It was so genuine. They weren't looking for recognition. They weren't looking for anyone to start talking about them. They just genuinely cared about everyone in the community.
Warm. I don't know, so many words. Warm, kind, loving, family. She was like my family.
You know, I was lucky. I actually saw Magda only a few months ago, and she didn't recognize me at first, and I, told her I was, and she would just same thing, smiled and hugged me, and "Oh, darling, how are you doing? And how's everybody?" And I would just tell her, thank you for the memories, thank you for being a wonderful part of my childhood.
I love you, Mom. I will remember you always. And I will always try to be the best woman that I can be and follow your best advice.
I would just tell her how much I love her and how special she was to me and to my whole family. And I really never met such a beautiful, gracious, and kind person like Magda.
Your presence is sorely missed, but we're so happy that you're with Max and that you're no longer suffering anymore.
Magda, thank you for all the support you've given me over the years. Thank you for all the advice you've given me over the years. You were very happy when I remarried Richard, and both you and Max let him into your lives then. And Richard was so honored that Max took him to shul, put him in the seat next to him, and welcomed him into your family.
Our community will forever be indebted to you for modeling for us the strength that roots can give to a person, the strength that roots can give to one's faith, and how those roots will maintain the faith of somebody even after witnessing the worst of all times.
It was something that Max always used to say, and Magda used to answer. And with that, I leave you. Hasta la vista, and Magda would answer, mañana, and I add to that, ba'olam haba.